Hello and welcome to my study channel Study Lit. This is your favorite teacher Ramakant Mahananda sir. Today I am here with a new chapter to discuss with you all. And the title of this particular chapter is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. This particular piece of prose has been taken from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, the first black president of the South Africa. So dear children, without any delay, let us move into the text. Before we go into the summary, I would like to tell you something that I have prepared video in two parts, especially for this particular chapter. Since I found this chapter to be too long, if I cover in the one video, then it would be too long for you, and you won't take much interest in a single video also. That is why I preferred to split the video into two parts. In the first part, I will be covering half of the chapter. So, dear children, please do not forget to watch the second part of the video also. So, today, before we go into the summary, I would like to introduce to you the author of this particular chapter. Let us know who the author was. As you can see on the screen, I have inserted the picture of the author. He is none other than Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Yeah, this is the full name of the author, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. But throughout the world, he is popularly known as Nelson Mandela. In short, he is known as Nelson Mandela. Let me just tell you about his childhood. Dear children, he was born on 18th of July 1918 in a small village in Mabezo. He was born in a well-to-do family. His father was having a respectable position in the society. Nelson Mandela was an activist, a politician, and a philanthropist. So first of all, we can say that he started his career as a student activist during his college days, and in the time of university, he started the active participation and became an activist in his life. And later on, after getting the victory over the apartheid practice, he turned into a politician. Eventually, he turned into a politician. He fought for the abolishment of the apartheid practice. I have already told you people that what apartheid is. Apartheid means it is a practice of social segregation. It is a practice of racial segregation where the people are being treated badly. Especially the racial segregation that was practiced in South Africa was by the white people. The white people considered themselves superior to the blacks, and as a result of that, they did not like the mixing up with the black people. They did not even allow the black people to come into their territory, to travel with them, or even study with their own children also. So in this way, this was a practice that continued for a long period of time since the Britishers established their colony in South Africa. But ultimately, it was not good for the society. It was against the humanity. We all are born equally, and we all should enjoy equal rights. And however, unfortunately, this had continued for a long period of time, and now there was someone in that particular land of South Africa who rose up and started fighting against this particular very existing practice, and that was none other than this particular author of ourselves, that is Nelson Mandela. And he was elected as the first president of the independent South Africa after getting victory over the apartheid practice and ruling out the Britishers from the country. When the country was declared independent, then Mr. Nelson Mandela was elected as the first black president of the South Africa, and that is a very remarkable day in the history of South Africa in the year 1994. Now, my dear children, I would like to discuss about the first part of the summary. As I told you in the beginning that this particular prose piece has been taken from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. You know what autobiography is? An autobiography is a life account of someone. Like many great people have written their own autobiography. The differences between autobiography and biography is that biography is also a life account, but that is written by someone else, not written by the person himself. But as far as the autobiography is concerned, autobiography is the life account written by the person himself. It means this particular autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, this one has been written by Nelson Mandela only, while he was alive, when he was inside the jail and was um, serving the prison there. So at that particular time, he had written all those beautiful things. And a part of that, a very beautiful part of that, has been extracted and has been given in the text for your study. So this is really very inspiring and motivational also. So I would request you all to kindly go through the book if you have it, or if it is available in your library, or if it is available somewhere nearby, then you must get it and go through this particular book. This is highly inspirational for all the young learners. In his autobiography, Mandela mentions how his journey was full of challenges. He was overwhelmed with the world leaders being present in his first ever oath taking ceremony. The entire South Africa was jubilant and was celebrating the day they all had eagerly waited for. During his ceremonial speech, he mentioned about the long and tiresome fight against the racial segregation. So, dear children, here it is written that he had a very challengeful journey in his life. Life without challenge has no beauty in it. And obviously, the challenges that come on the way, the obstacles that come on the way of Mandela, that made him more powerful day by day. You will be surprised to know that Mandela had served in the prison, or was kept in the prison or in the jail for more than 27 years. For round about 30 years altogether, we can say he served prison for about 30 years. And 30 years of time is not a child's play. Means he has given his the entire young age in the prison only. He spent his entire young age in the prison. He could not live with his family, he could not live with his children, he could not live with the society. But still, my dear children, even though he was inside the jail, even though he was prisoned, but still he was thinking about his people. He was very much concerned about the condition of his people. He wanted to uproot this particular very existing practice of apartheid. He was completely against it. He was not against the Britishers. He was against the policy. He was against the system. He was against the practice that had been continuously going on in the soil of South Africa. So, my dear children, when you go through this particular chapter, when you go through the text of the book, then you will find that he loved the whites as well. He loved the white people as well. He was not against the Britishers, and that is the most important thing that he had inculcated in his personality. It is very difficult to love your enemy. I would say it is really very difficult for someone to love his or her enemy. But Nelson Mandela was a true man who had in himself a great humanity to show before the entire world. So let us see what is happening. So when he was elected as the president of the independent nation of South Africa, he wanted this day to be a memorable one, to be a historic day for the South African people. That is why he had requested the delegates of about 140 countries. And you will be surprised to know that all these 140 countries, international delegates and the world leaders had attended his swearing in ceremony. If you go through the second paragraph of the summary, There it is mentioned that where the ceremony was taking place and how it was going on and what was his speech, what did he was actually focusing, what were the next challenges that he is going to see in his tenure as a president of the country. Let us see what he is going to reveal here. The ceremony took place at the amphitheater of the Union Building in Pretoria, the present capital of the Republic of South Africa. Mandela delivered a speech on the most awaited victory over the extraordinary humanity gesture. My dear children, as you know, that in this particular sentence, a phrase has been written, extraordinary humanity gesture. This particular phrase has been repeatedly used in your book. When you go through the text, there you will find that this phrase has been repeatedly used. What does this signify? What does it mean? What is this extraordinary humanity gesture that he is talking about in the book, as well as he is talking about in his autobiography? So, my dear children, this extraordinary human disaster refers to the practice of apartheid. Refers to the practice of apartheid. Okay? In the words of, or according to Nelson Mandela, it was an extraordinary human disaster. Definitely, it had divided the society into two parts. It had created a gap between the white and the blacks, and the blacks and the white treated themselves as their enemies. So that is why he considers this particular practice as an extraordinary human disaster. This is the most significant word or the phrase that he has used in his autobiography. Moreover, the ceremony was taking place in a historical palace, that is amphitheater, present in the Union Building in Pretoria. Pretoria at present is the capital of the Republic of South Africa, my children. It's a big city, and when the swearing in ceremony was going on, or the installation of democracy was taking place in the soil of South Africa, there in the text it is mentioned that about 100,000 South African people come on the streets, they come on the highway, started merrymaking, started making fun, and started enjoying the day. I think when you just visualize that things in your mind, you can just imagine how beautiful that moment must have been. If you were there, how you would have enjoyed. You just imagine for a moment and you think how you would have enjoyed that particular day. Okay, for a long time, your freedom had been taken away. You were under the rule of someone else, someone was ruling you, and all of a sudden, after a long period of time, you got the freedom back. So, how would you feel? Definitely, you will feel very, very happy. Definitely, you would feel very, very relaxed. Definitely, you would consider yourself like a bird in the sky, in the open sky, I mean. So, in the same way, the people of Pretoria, the people of the South Africa, they all enjoyed the installation of the democracy, the establishment of the democracy, establishment of peace, and the abolishment of the apartheid practice on 10th May 1994. Moreover, children, when you go through the text, one more thing you will encounter, that in the book, in the particular text, there it is written that the 10th May seems to be the autumn day for the people of South Africa. What does that mean? What do you understand by the phrase autumn day? Dear children, if you refer to the dictionary and if you go through the background of this particular one, the significance of autumn. Autumn is the season when the people prepare themselves for the next challenging season to come. Autumn is the season when the people get to work hard and store food for the winter. Autumn is the season when people get the time to make fun with the family, to have some good time with the family and the society. It is a time when we do something good. That is why even in the month of 10th May, in the month of May also, the author has written that it seems as if this is an autumn day in the soil of South Africa. Although it was the summer season going on, but he refers it as the autumn season. Okay, so that is the beautiful phrase that he has written over there. He called it victory of humanity over injustice, oppression, segregation, and discrimination. He, as the newly elected president, pledged to provide his people the justice, liberty, and a racism free society to live in. So, dear children, here two things have been mentioned. I have quoted two things from the text here. He called it the victory of humanity over injustice. Now, here you see, although he was the pioneer of this particular battle, he was the most important figure behind the win against the Britishers. Without Nelson Mandela, I think this was probably a dream which would have never come true for the South African people, or for the people of the South Africa. But still, he does not take any kind of credit for it. He says that it is not my victory, rather, it is the victory of the entire humanity. It is not the victory of the black people over the whites. Rather, he says, very beautifully, he says that he respects humanity, and that is being reflected in his statement. He says that this particular victory is the victory of humanity over injustice, oppression, segregation, and discrimination. He's not blaming the white people. He's neither trying to portray the blacks as the hero. He's not trying to rule out the Britishers from this land who have dominated for over the last 200 years. Rather, he is trying to establish peace among the two races. He wants the existence of both Britishers and the blacks in the same country. He wants both whites and blacks to work together, work unitedly, and make the nation grow and prosper in all respect. This shows that he was really, truly a great leader, a great humanitarian that has emerged in the form of the president of the South Africa. So, dear children, in our next video, I'll be clarifying you few more things. Thank you.